getting on to that on a side topic, the G8. It's over now.
It is over, and I didn't hear much. We didn't see much fan for it.
We saw a lot of. I saw a lot of communist sort of rhetoric coming out of the protesting, which I thought was funny because the guys in the suits in the G8 would absolutely love to have a more communist regime come back in. Because of course, if you look into that in any ways, you know that the guys that were funding communism were the same bankers and tycoons that we're blaming for everything. So, has anybody got any thoughts on the G8, or was it largely just an excuse?
The G8? Certainly, what they did at the G8 is everyone thought it was going to be about Syria. In actual fact, it turned out to be about global taxation, didn't it? The putting in the seed of this thing that's going to become the global carbon tax, knitting together the trilateral world, basically, isn't it? That's what they're doing.
No, absolutely.
This is all going in with this is the one thing that when we were down at the Fringe Festival, it was obvious to me that all of the people that we suspected to be serving some kind of agenda that wasn't right, these were all people that believe in man-made global warming, and these are all people who would therefore argue for a thing called global taxation. Mm-hmm. And that is the main problem. That's what I think we should have been talking about at Fringe Festival, is the fact that global warming. Carry on.
Sorry, Sam, we weren't aware at that time. It's only because you've done a little bit of digging since the Fringe.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we're not going to mention any names, but you've done some digging around on some of the organisers of the Fringe.
I tell you what, I'm going right down the rabbit hole. It's like the rabbit hole is massive with these guys. But
okay, so if you could just, without mentioning names, can you?
I'll mention names.
Yeah, I know you will. But okay. But just, I don't know if Neil's aware of what you found out, Sam. So if you want to just give everybody a rough sort of overview of what you found out with the people behind this Fringe Festival.
Well, there's just some very, very interesting characters. I mean, it's still a kind of a work in progress. But there was one lady who was there that really stuck out for me, and I noticed her when she was there. To be honest, I noticed her because she was really, really hot.
Yeah.
To be nasty about it. But she was this lady called Ellen Grace Jones. And she was there on behalf of the Huffington Post. She was doing like a builder blog or whatever. Right. But you look into this lady, Ellen Grace Jones, she's massively into occultism and into the esoteric mysticism and all this kind of stuff. And she works on behalf, she's like an editor, and she's basically a style creator for fashion magazines. And she's well into, like, one of her main images she uses a lot is a picture of herself naked with a skeleton lying on top of her, and then around it is a table filled with glasses and plates with bits of meat on it. So her main sort of trend is to do with cannibalism and vampirism. And you look at some of the people who surround her, they call themselves demons and all this kind of stuff. And she was hanging out with the BBC when we kicked them out. And if you look at the pictures, I mean, I've got all the high definition video that I took from there, and it's really interesting, just looking at it so that we can identify who all these characters are and look into their backgrounds. It seems this Ellen Grace Jones woman is she's one of these people that inserts Illuminati symbolism into fashion magazines.
Wow.
So that's the kind of people that were hanging out in the press tent. And is it any one the BBC turned up to it with covered in Illuminati symbolism? This is cool. This is cool for these people, and this is all involved in the what they would call the progress to a global society. But of course, what they're really pushing is the progress to a global society owned by the people that we're supposedly protesting against.